Flamingo chef, show us what you got with cocktails and dishes that hit the sweet spot.
Hey guys, Bill the Kansas Flamingo chef. Let's make some chicken gumbo. So some of you may have seen the video I did some years ago when my father passed away and I made his favorite gumbo. This is my favorite gumbo. Okay, so this one, believe it or not, is actually a little more labor intensive, but the principle and the techniques are still the same. Right now I've got rice steaming, which will go in the bowl of gumbo. But let's talk about what I've got on the board, because you notice there's two pans, because it is a two-pan process. This is my meat pan. Chicken gumbo, you need to cook the meats first before they actually go into the roux. This is my roux and cooking pot. So let's talk about everything, all right? Let's talk meat. Chicken. I've got about 2 pounds of dark meat cut up chicken. If you prefer white meat, go ahead, use white meat, but I'm telling you, you need to use dark meat. That's where the flavor is. I've got just about 1 pound of sliced andouille sausage. Use andouille, don't use some weird smoked kielbasa or whatever. Use andouille. Worcestershire sauce, however you want to pronounce it. It's actually Worcestershire, is how it's supposed to be pronounced, which seems stupid with the way it's written. Only use the good stuff, use the real stuff, use Lee and Perrins. If you don't know the history of this stuff and you'd like to, I was thinking about making a video just about how this came to be, because it's pretty impressive, quite frankly. You're going to need fat for your roux. I like butter. You're also going to need flour. So we've got that here. That's going to be what makes up your roux. You should also have a second fat ready to thin your roux. And in this case, I'm going to use good old olive oil. Garlic. I've got 3 cloves of garlic that I'm actually going to press directly into the gumbo. I know this is going to be a point of contention with some people, but this is 2 diced Roma tomatoes. It just goes in to express the flavor. That's all it's for. We got our Cajun Trinity. So I've got 3 stalks of celery chopped up. I've got 1 medium-sized yellow onion. And I've got 1 medium-sized bell pepper. I've done all the prep work ahead of time because that's where most of your labor goes in. Okra. It's not gumbo without okra, because the word comes from qui gumbo, which means okra. This is from Walmart, believe it or not. Pick Sweet Farms. This is a 28-ounce bag of okra. I'm going to use the whole thing. Most people don't, but I like a lot of okra in gumbo. Then we're going to need stock. So for my stock, I'm going to use Better Than Bouillon chicken stock. You could use chicken base, rather. You can use a pre-made stock if you want to, or boil down chicken leftovers and make your own stock. Usually I have some of that in the freezer, but I don't right now. And then let's talk about spices. You need salt, pepper, and garlic. This is Kinder's The Blend. It's the easy way to do it. You need some kind of Cajun seasoning. If you want to use stuff you buy at the store, go ahead. I make my own. This is basically paprika and a little bit of everything, quite frankly. But it's and a little cayenne. That's going to be used in the meat. Thyme, because chicken needs thyme. Parsley, because chicken needs parsley. Sage, because gumbo needs sage. Cayenne pepper. Gotta have it, guys. And oregano. And last but not least on my spice table is gumbo filet. If you are not familiar with filet, you can't make real gumbo without okra and filet. Now I'm going to use 2 more things that are not actually 3 that I don't have here on the board. Water, beer. Yes, beer. You could use red wine instead if you wanted to, but you need something to thicken the base. And last but not least, let the yelling begin, Louisiana hot sauce. I do not put Tabasco in chicken gumbo. I use Louisiana hot sauce. I don't need the extra Tabasco vinegary flavor. That's everything that's going to go in it. Here we go. Look, I know most people have not tried to do all this at once, and that's okay. So if you'd rather build one part of this at a time and combine them together, that's fine. But I've done it hundreds of times, and I'm going to do it my way. So what I'm going to do is start getting some heat going, medium-high on the meat side and medium-low on the roux side. I'm going to start by building my roux. So this is butter right out of the refrigerator. It's going to take a little while to break down. That's also why I'm setting the heat low, because I want it to slowly break down. I don't want butter burning in the bottom of the pan. So we're going to put that in there and let it do its thing before we build the roux. While the butter is starting to melt, I'm going to put a little olive oil, just lightly covering the bottom of the meat side. Over here, I'm going to take and I do mean a little bit, just a pinch of these tomatoes, and put them in the bottom. About enough to put on a taco, honestly. And then I'm going to drop in my chicken, a whole mess of chicken, and I'm going to hit that with just a little bit of Louisiana hot sauce, maybe 2 or 3 dashes at the most, and some salt, pepper, and garlic. This is going to be about a teaspoon or so, and some thyme, about the same amount. And some oregano. And this is kind of to eye. I mean, I'm just doing maybe a teaspoon of each one of these. Parsley, sage, and last but not least, a little bit more of the Cajun seasoning. Now we're going to slowly let this build and just move it around occasionally. First, we want to stir in those spices so they're not all just sitting on one piece of chicken. And let that oil and those couple of tomatoes kind of soak in and push it around the pan. I'm going to slowly let this chicken start to cook. Meanwhile, I'm going to keep checking on my butter. You can see it's not ready yet, okay? But it's real close. Once that butter's completely melted, we'll start adding flour. So I'm going to move my flour over to the other side. And get a whisk ready. Something to grab the flour with. All right. I'm going to turn the heat up on the chicken just a little bit. Basically, all I'm doing is putting some color on this chicken, and then I'll add the sausage to it. Meanwhile, I'm going to get one of these cloves of garlic and my garlic press, and just kind of, we're going to put all that garlic into the chicken. As the butter has now completely melted down, I'm going to start putting some flour in here. Now the secret to making roux is to slowly add flour, because you don't want it too thick and you don't want it too thin. As that roux melts, you should have something that looks kind of like that. And then every so often, just sprinkle a little more flour in there and keep working on that consistency. If you guys would like to see a better roux development technique, let me know. I'd be glad to do a video just showing you how to properly make roux. But when I'm trying to do both sides of this at once, I don't have time to go into that right now. We're going to keep working the chicken, slowly let the roux work. And once that chicken is nice and brown, we'll, or almost completely brown, we'll move on to putting the sausage in it. The roux for this gumbo needs to be chocolate in color. If you're not familiar with roux colors, just think of it like the things you eat. They call it peanut butter roux because it looks like peanut butter. That's what you use for etouffee. When you're making a gumbo, depending on what meat is going in it, you're going to have different depths of color in your roux. In a poultry-based gumbo, you want it dark, like milk chocolate or just past that. The secret to cooking good roux is keeping it at the right consistency. If it starts to get too thick, add fat. If it starts to get too thin, add flour. And just keep working that around as that color develops. If it doesn't move like lava, it's too thick. If it moves like water, it's too thin. That's the way I was taught, and it's a good way to remember it. Meanwhile, my chicken is getting a nice little bit of color on it. Got some good smell coming out of there. I'm gonna let that cook for just a minute more before we add the sausage. I'm getting my stock ready behind me. Meanwhile, you can see my roux is getting just a little bit thinner than I want it to, but it's starting to develop a little color. So I'm gonna put just a little bit of flour in here, mix that in. Now, I know some people will only cook roux with a wooden spoon. I know there's some who will only do it with a whisk. I figure you use whatever utensil you got handy that works. All right, meanwhile, our chicken is ready for some pork fat. So we're going to dump in the sausage. And that sausage will start to let a lot of oil in there, and you'll hear it start to fry. That's a good thing. Meanwhile, back to checking the roux. You can see we're starting to get a little peanut butter color going on. In fact, some spots are going to be a little more brown than others. We got to keep moving that around, make sure it doesn't burn. Because if you burn the roux, this is all done and you got to start over. You do not want to eat burned roux. There's nothing worse. All right, you can see it's darkening just a little bit. Show you that color. So we're at that point where it's going to happen pretty quick. You got to really keep an eye on it. You got to get your vegetables at the ready. I've opened a beer. I'm using Yingling. Really doesn't matter what you use. We're going to pour a little bit on the chicken, and we're going to pour a whole lot in some into the cook. Meanwhile, our roux is building some brown on the bottom. I want to show you the color here. We are just past peanut butter. So right now it looks like peanut butter, thickness and color-wise. You got to keep moving it because it's going to get dark real quick. I got to make sure it spreads across the bottom. We're going to move the chicken and sausage around in that beer. Let that absorb some of that flavor and also kind of cook off and make a little bit of sauce in there. Meanwhile, my vegetables are ready because they're going to go into the roux as soon as it hits that chocolate color and it's real close. My roux is basically ready. You can see that nice chocolatey color. Now, the secret to getting this to brown like this and not burn is 1, low temperature, and 2, patience. So I've got it just at the color I want now. So we're going to add our vegetables. So the Cajun Trinity is going to go in here. Bell pepper, onion. For those of you worried about it, my hands are washed, and celery. And then we're just going to stir that in. And we're just going to turn that into the roux, still keeping that heat at medium-low on my stove here. I think it's set at about 3. Okay, and you're going to see it gets darker as those vegetables go in. Now what's going to happen here is the vegetables are going to cook down quickly and they're going to soften up. I'm going to add some salt, pepper, and garlic to this. And a little bit of Louisiana hot sauce. And whatever Cajun seasoning you're using. And I'm also going to add some sage to it because chicken needs sage. Now, if you don't have paprika mixed into your Cajun seasoning, then you need paprika. I have it in mine, so it's good to go. Now, I don't want these vegetables get so limp that they don't have any character left. I want a little bit of crunch, a little al dente, so they're ready for some stock. just going to pour some chicken stock in here. And that was about 3 cups. And then work this together. Now, if you use a whisk, it makes this part a little easier, but it can be messy. So watch what you're doing and just kind of work that all together so that roux is not left in clumps. Okay, just like that. Next, we're going to hit it with just a little bit of beer. A little bit of beer is helpful. And a few shots of Worcestershire. Use as much as you like. Remember, Worcestershire brings out flavors. It's really not its own flavor. If you try to eat that stuff by itself, you're going to think that's the most disgusting thing you've ever tasted. But when you add it to other things, it enhances their flavor. It's kind of an amazing sauce, quite frankly. All right, at this point, it's time to put in our chicken, our meats. I'm going to kind of let the sauce drain into there first. And then let the meat start to fall in. I want all that goodness out of there. We'll mix that in. Oh my goodness, that smells good. Okay. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of cayenne to this, and I do mean a tiny bit. That's plenty. And then I'm going to throw a little more of my tomato in here, give it a little bulk. In fact, I'm just going to use what I got left. Now it's time for filet. Filet gumbo. There's no such thing as too much filet. This builds the consistency of this and also gives it a flavor that would just not be there if we don't have the filet yet. But you can almost watch it thicken as you put filet in. It's kind of an amazing thing. All right. Now, the meat is cooked. All that's left is the okra. So, in she goes. If you want to save some of that, make some fried okra, hey, you got my blessing. Now just mix this in, and you're going to watch it turn really thick, really fast. And that's when we're going to add some water. Just water. I've got about 2.5 cups of water. I'm going to put that in here. And then we'll just turn it together. And now we're just going to leave it on the stove at medium heat. Let it come to a boil. Then bring the heat down and let it sit and simmer for at least an hour, maybe 2, and it'll be ready. And that is the finished product. Look at that. Oh, man, I'm telling you, I got to dig into this. I can't wait. As always, if you have a dish you'd like me to make, all you got to do is drop me a line, comment on this video, send me an email, bill@kansasflamingochef.com. I'm always ready. Hey, please subscribe if you're not already. Like, share, comment on this video. It means the world to me. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoy filet gumbo. Have a great day.